The massive alien fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system without warning. 300 warships, each one larger than humanity's biggest space station, arranged themselves in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed with an unknown metal that seemed to absorb light itself. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the USS Phoenix, humanity's newest experimental warship. He watched the tactical display with growing concern. The Phoenix was alone out here, conducting routine patrol near Neptune when the aliens arrived. Earth's main fleet was days away, scattered across the inner planets on various missions. "Captain, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez reported from the communications station. Her voice remained steady despite the tension everyone felt. "Put it through," Walker ordered, straightening his uniform. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that stood 8 feet tall. Its skin was pale blue, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed with an inner light. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled for a moment before rendering the words in English. "Humans of Earth," the alien commander began, its voice carrying absolute authority. "I am Admiral Kane of the Dominion Empire. Your species has been observed and evaluated. You have 7 of your Earth rotations to surrender unconditionally. Join the Dominion as servants, or face complete annihilation." The transmission ended abruptly. The bridge fell silent. Walker turned to his crew. 30 men and women, the best Earth had to offer, looked back at him. He saw fear in some eyes, anger in others, but in all of them he saw determination. "Options?" he asked simply. Commander David Park, his second in command, stepped forward. "Sir, the Phoenix has experimental weapons and shields, but against 300 ships? The math doesn't work." "The math never works for humans," Walker replied with a grim smile. "That's never stopped us before." He moved to the tactical station where Lieutenant Tom Anderson was analyzing the alien fleet. "Tom, what can you tell me about their formation?" Anderson pulled up a 3-dimensional display. "They're using a standard pyramid formation, sir. Very efficient for overwhelming firepower, but ... double quotes." He paused, zooming in on the center of the formation. "There's something odd. Their command ship is positioned at the exact center, protected by all the others." Walker studied the display. In human naval doctrine, command ships stayed at the rear, protected but still able to observe and direct. This centered position suggested something else entirely. They're not just protecting it, Walker realized. They're dependent on it. It's controlling the entire fleet. Rodriguez interrupted their analysis. "Captain, Earth Command is responding to the alien ultimatum." The main screen switched to show Earth's president addressing the United Nations. The room was packed with representatives from every nation, their faces grave. "We have received the Dominion's message," the president said. "Let me be clear. Humanity does not kneel. We stand together, as one people, one planet. To the Dominion Empire, we say this: we choose freedom. We choose to fight." The General Assembly erupted in applause. Walker felt pride swell in his chest, but it was tempered by reality. Earth's entire fleet numbered only 50 ships, and most were older models not designed for combat. "Sir," Park said quietly, "Earth is mobilizing everything they have, but it won't be enough." "Not against those numbers?" Walker moved to the center of the bridge. His crew watched him, waiting. He thought about Earth, about the billions of people going about their daily lives, unaware that their fate might rest in the hands of one experimental ship and its crew. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice carrying the weight of command. "The Phoenix was built to test new technologies, to push boundaries. Today, we're going to push them further than anyone imagined." He turned to Anderson. "I want every scan you can get on that command ship. Find me a weakness." To Rodriguez, "Monitor their communications. Any chatter between ships, any signal at all." To Park, Prepare all experimental systems. If we're going to do something stupid, we're going to do it smart. The crew moved with purpose, each person focused on their task. Outside, the alien fleet maintained its position, patient and confident in their superiority. Walker stared at the tactical display. 300 against 1 seemed impossible. But humans had a long history of doing the impossible when their backs were against the wall. And right now, humanity's back wasn't just against the wall. It was about to be pushed through it. The Phoenix began to move, slowly at first, angling toward the massive alien fleet. One ship against an empire. The longest 7 days in human history had just begun. Day 2 brought revelations. Lieutenant Anderson hadn't slept in 36 hours, his eyes bloodshot as he stared at streams of data. The alien fleet hadn't moved, maintaining their threatening formation like predators certain of their prey. "Captain, you need to see this," Anderson called out. His voice hoarse but excited. Walker moved to the science station where Anderson had compiled his findings. The display showed detailed scans of the Dominion command ship, with areas highlighted in different colors. "Their command ship isn't just coordinating the fleet," Anderson explained, pointing to pulsing energy readings. "It's literally controlling them. Every ship in their fleet is connected through some kind of quantum entanglement network. The individual ships have minimal crew, maybe 5 or 6 beings each. Everything else is automated, controlled by the command ship's central intelligence." Park whistled low. 300 ships run by one brain? "It's efficient," Walker admitted, studying the data. "No communication lag, perfect coordination, instant response to threats." He paused, a plan forming in his mind. "But it's also a single point of failure." "Sir, disrupting that ship would require getting through their entire fleet first," Park pointed out. "They've positioned it perfectly." Walker turned to his weapons officer, Lieutenant Lisa Chong. "Lisa, what's the status on the dimensional phase shifter?" Chong looked uncomfortable. "Sir, that system is completely theoretical. We've only tested it twice, and both times it nearly tore the ship apart. The power requirements alone. Can it be done?" Walker interrupted. Chong was quiet for a moment, running calculations on her console. "If we redirect everything to it, and I mean everything, including life support, we might get 30 seconds of phase shift. Maybe 30 seconds of being invisible and intangible," Walker mused. 30 seconds to reach their command ship. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed what their captain was suggesting. It was insane. It was suicidal. It was perfectly human. Rodriguez's console beeped urgently. "Captain, the Dominion is broadcasting again." Admiral Kane appeared on screen, his forearms clasped behind his back. "Humans, you have 5 days remaining. We have monitored your pathetic attempts at mobilization. Your 50 ships are noted and dismissed. Save yourselves needless death. Surrender." The transmission ended, but Rodriguez held up a hand. "Sir, there's something else. I've been monitoring their interfleet communications. It's heavily encrypted, but there's a pattern. Every 18 hours, there's a massive data burst from the command ship to all vessels. It lasts exactly 3 minutes. A system update," Anderson said suddenly. "They're synchronizing their systems, probably updating tactical data, maintaining the quantum links." Walker felt the pieces clicking into place. "When's the next one?" "In 6 hours, 14 minutes, Rodriguez replied. Walker turned to face his crew. Every face watched him with a mixture of trust and apprehension. These people had trained for exploration, for peace. Now he was asking them to attempt the impossible. "Here's what we're going to do," he began. "We're going to send a message to Earth. Tell them to gather the fleet, but hold position near Mars. Make it look like they're setting up a defensive line." "Sir?" Park looked confused. "The Dominion expects us to be predictable, to follow standard tactics," Walker explained. "They've probably conquered dozens of species, who all did the same thing, massed their forces for one glorious last stand. He smiled grimly. But humans? We don't do glorious last stands. We do sneaky, underhanded tricks that no reasonable species would attempt. He outlined his plan. During the next synchronization window, when the command ship was busy updating its fleet, the Phoenix would activate the phase shifter. They would have 30 seconds to reach the command ship, become solid again inside their shields, and deliver one precise strike to their control center. If we fail? Chang asked quietly. Then Earth still has 5 days to find another solution, Walker replied. But if we succeed, 300 ships become 300 floating hulks. The crew exchanged glances. It was madness. The phase shifter could scatter their atoms across space. Even if it worked, they'd be inside an enemy ship with no way out. All due respect, sir, Park said slowly, this is probably going to kill us all. Walker nodded. Probably. Anyone who wants to leave can take an escape pod now. No judgment, no shame. This isn't what you signed up for. Nobody moved. Rodriguez broke the silence. Captain, with all due respect, shut up and tell us what to do. We've got 6 hours to save Earth. Walker felt his throat tighten with emotion. This was humanity at its finest, facing impossible odds with determination, creativity, and just the right amount of crazy. All right then. Let's get to work. Asterisk. 4 hours until the synchronization window. The Phoenix hummed with activity as every system was checked, rechecked, and modified. Chief Engineer Robert Chun had torn apart half the ship's power grid, rerouting every spare wire of energy to the phase shifter. Captain, I've got good news and bad news, Chun reported from engineering, his face covered in grease and sweat appearing on the bridge monitor. Bad news first, Walker said, supervising the installation of additional shield generators around the phase shifter. When we activate this thing, we'll have no shields, no weapons, minimal life support, and definitely no way to communicate with Earth. We'll be flying blind and defenseless for 30 seconds. And the good news? Chun grinned. I managed to squeeze out an extra 5 seconds. 35 seconds total. It wasn't much, but Walker would take every advantage he could get. Good work, Chief. On the bridge, Anderson and Chong worked together, calculating the exact trajectory needed. The margin for error was non-existent. They had to account for the command ship's movement, the gravitational effects of 300 ships, and the Phoenix's momentum during phase shift. If we're off by even a meter, we'll materialize inside their hull, Chang explained, showing Walker the calculations. Best case, we destroy both ships instantly. Worst case, we merge at the atomic level and create a very small, very brief new element before exploding. Let's avoid creating new elements today, Walker said dryly. Rodriguez had been monitoring Earth's response. The planet was in controlled chaos. Every available ship was launching, but following Walker's instructions. They held position near Mars. The media was calling it humanity's last stand, reporters broadcasting defiant messages while civilians were moved to underground shelters. Sir, Rodriguez said, I've detected something interesting. The Dominion fleet? They're laughing at us. Laughing? Their communications include what the translator identifies as amusement. They're actually entertained by our resistance. They're calling us ... Adorable. Park's face darkened. Adorable? Walker actually smiled. Good. Let them underestimate us. Pride comes before the fall, and these bastards are about to fall hard. 2 hours until synchronization. Walker called a general meeting in the mess hall. The entire crew gathered, 30 souls who might not see another sunrise. I'm not going to give you a fancy speech, Walker began, looking at each face. You know what we're attempting. You know the odds. But I want you to know this. Regardless of what happens, you've already made history. The Phoenix and her crew stood against an empire. That means something. Young Ensign Mike Johnson raised his hand. Captain, what if it works? What if we actually disable their fleet? Then we've bought Earth time, Walker replied. Time to unite, time to prepare, time to show the galaxy that humanity doesn't bow to bullies. And if the Dominion sends more ships? Another crew member asked. Walker's expression hardened. Then they'll learn what humans are really capable of. Today, we're one ship doing the impossible. Imagine what we'll do when we're truly angry. 1 hour until synchronization. Final preparations were complete. The Phoenix had been stripped down to essentials. Every non-critical system was offline. The crew wore environmental suits in case life support failed completely. Walker stood on the bridge, watching the alien fleet on the main screen. They hadn't moved, hadn't even acknowledged the Phoenix's slow approach. Why would they? One small ship against an armada was beneath their notice. Captain, Anderson called out, I'm detecting something odd. The command ship's power signature is increasing. It single quotes S. massive. Sir, the amount of energy required to maintain control of 300 ships simultaneously. It's astronomical. How are they generating it? Walker asked. Unknown. But sir, if that power source were to suddenly lose containment, double quotes, Walker understood. If they succeeded in disrupting the command ship, they might trigger an explosion that would take out not just the Phoenix, but potentially several nearby Dominion vessels. One ship for several of theirs, Park said quietly. Not a bad trade. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Walker replied, though privately he'd already accepted the possibility. 30 minutes until synchronization. Walker opened a channel to Earth, knowing this might be their last communication. Earth Command, this is Captain Walker of the USS Phoenix. We are about to attempt something unconventional. If you don't hear from us again, know that we acted with humanity's best interests at heart. Tell our families we love them. Tell our world we tried. Phoenix out. He closed the channel before Earth could respond. There was nothing they could say that would change what came next. All stations report ready. Captain, Park announced. Walker took his seat, gripping the armrests. Then let's make history. 10 minutes until synchronization. The Phoenix crept forward at 1/4 impulse, trying to appear like a ship conducting reconnaissance rather than preparing for a suicide run. The Dominion fleet remained motionless, confident in their superiority. Distance to command ship, 800,000 kilometers, Anderson reported. At maximum burn during phase, we'll cover that in 31 seconds. Cutting it close, Park muttered. Story of humanity, Walker replied. We've always worked best with our backs against the wall. 5 minutes. Chun's voice crackled over the comb. Captain, phase shifter is primed. The moment we activate, every system except basic propulsion goes dark. We'll be a ghost ship in every sense. Understood, Chief. Get to your emergency station. 3 minutes. Rodriguez monitored the Dominion communications. Sir, their chatter is increasing. Standard pre-synchronization protocols, from what I can tell. Walker stood, addressing his bridge crew one last time. Whatever happens in the next few minutes, it's been an honor serving with you all. 1 minute. Every eye focused on their instruments. The air was thick with tension and determination. Synchronization beginning, Rodriguez announced. Massive data transfer initiated. All hands, this is the captain, Walker announced ship-wide. Initiating phase shift in 10 seconds. May fortune favor the bold. The countdown began. On the main screen, the command ship pulsed with energy as it coordinated its massive fleet. 3.2. Mark. Chong slammed her hand on the activation control. The Phoenix shuddered violently as reality itself seemed to bend around them. The lights died instantly, replaced by emergency strips that cast everything in red. The view screen flickered and went dark. The comfortable hum of life support vanished, leaving only the labored breathing of 30 crew members in their suits. But the phase shifter worked. Walker felt the strangest sensation, as if he existed and didn't exist simultaneously. His hand passed through his armrest like it wasn't there. The entire ship had shifted into a different dimensional phase, invisible and intangible to normal matter. "Maximum burn," Walker shouted, though he wasn't sure anyone could hear him over the groaning of the ship's hull. The Phoenix shot forward, passing through space where normal physics said it shouldn't exist. They flew straight through the outer defensive line of Dominion ships, the alien vessels occupying the same space without interaction. 20 seconds of phase remaining. They passed through another line of ships. Walker could see his crew working their controls, maintaining their heading despite having no visual reference. This was pure faith in calculations made under pressure. 10 seconds. The command ship loomed ahead, or at least, Walker hoped it did. Without sensors, they were flying blind. Everything depended on Anderson's calculations being perfect. 5 seconds. Prepare for phase return. Walker shouted, ".3 seconds, .2.1. Reality snapped back like a rubber band. The Phoenix materialized inside the command ship's shield bubble, alarm screaming as systems came back online. Through the view screen, Walker could see they were less than 1,000 meters from the alien vessel's hull. "Weapons online," Chong shouted. "We have 15 seconds before their shields recalibrate to block us." "Target their power core," Walker ordered. "Everything we have." The Phoenix unleashed hell. Experimental plasma cannons, railguns, and even old-fashioned nuclear missiles erupted from the small ship. At point-blank range, inside the shields, every shot hit home. The command ship's hull buckled and split. Secondary explosions rippled across its surface as their weapons found critical systems. "Sir, I'm reading massive power fluctuations," Anderson warned. "Their core is going critical." Through the view screen, Walker could see Admiral Kane's face appear on an emergency transmission. The alien's 4 eyes were wide with shock. "Impossible," Kane shouted. "You're primitives." "You cannot." The transmission cut as the command ship's power core imploded. The Phoenix rode the shockwave, tumbling end over end as Chun fought to maintain structural integrity. "Look!" Rodriguez pointed at her screen. One by one, the Dominion ships were going dark. Without their central control, the automated systems shut down. 300 warships became 300 drifting hulks in the span of seconds. The bridge erupted in shears, but Walker remained focused. "Chun, get us clear of the explosion." All hands braced for impact. The Phoenix rocketed away as the command ship collapsed into itself, then exploded outward in a brilliant flash. The shock wave caught them, sending the ship spinning wildly, but the hull held. When they finally stabilized, the sight that greeted them was surreal. The mighty Dominion Armada, which had threatened Earth's extinction, now drifted powerless in space. "We did it," Park said in disbelief. "We actually did it." Walker slumped in his chair, exhaustion hitting him. "Rodriguez, open a channel to Earth." Asterisk, the message from the Phoenix reached Earth 17 minutes later. When the tactical data confirmed that the Dominion fleet was disabled, mission control erupted in celebration that could be heard 3 blocks away. Within hours, Earth's fleet surrounded the drifting Dominion ships. The skeleton crews aboard, only 5 or 6 beings per vessel, surrendered immediately. Without their command structure and automated systems, they were helpless. Captain Walker stood on Earth Station Alpha's observation deck 3 weeks later, watching as human and alien engineers worked together on the captured Dominion vessels. The impossible had happened, not just humanity's survival, But something greater. Captain, a familiar voice said behind him. Walker turned to find Admiral Kane, alive but clearly humbled. The alien had been rescued from an escape pod, along with a handful of his command staff. Admiral, Walker acknowledged with a nod. I must understand, Kane said, his 4 eyes studying Walker intently. Your species had inferior numbers, inferior technology. By every calculation, you should have surrendered or been destroyed. Walker smiled. That's where you made your mistake, Admiral. You calculated everything except the human factor. The human factor? We're insane, Walker said simply. We'll take impossible odds and find the one crazy solution no one else would try. You brought 300 ships thinking it would intimidate us. Instead, it just pissed us off. Kane was quiet for a moment. The Dominion Empire spans 50 systems. When they learn of our defeat, they'll think twice, Walker interrupted. Because here's what's going to happen. Those crew members we captured, they're going home. They're going to tell your empire that one human ship disabled an entire fleet. They're going to explain that we treated prisoners with dignity, that we're willing to talk peace, but we're also willing to fight. He turned to face Kane fully. And they're going to tell them about the 1,000 ships we're building using your technology. Ships crewed by humans who now know we can win. Kane's expression was unreadable. You would return us home? With a message, Walker said. Earth seeks peace, but we will not kneel. We'll trade, we'll share knowledge, we'll be partners. But if the Dominion comes as conquerors again, they'll find a very different humanity waiting for them. Admiral Kane looked out at the construction yards where human and salvage Dominion technology merged into something new. My people have conquered for millennia. We've never encountered a species like yours. Get used to disappointment, Walker said with a grin. 6 months later, the first Dominion peace delegation arrived at Earth. They came in a single ship, broadcasting peaceful intentions. The negotiations were complex, but humanity's position was strong. The story of the Phoenix had spread through Dominion space like wildfire. The tiny ship that shouldn't have stood a chance had become legend. Captain Walker, promoted to Admiral for his actions, represented Earth in the negotiations. Across from him sat not just Admiral Kane, but the Dominion Emperor himself, a being who hadn't left his home system in 300 years. Your species is an anomaly, the Emperor said, his voice resonating with centuries of authority. You should have been conquered. The mathematics were absolute. With respect, Emperor, Walker replied, you forgot to factor in human stubbornness. We have a saying, the difficult we do immediately. The impossible takes a little longer. The treaty signed that day established Earth as an independent power with protected status. The Dominion would not only leave humanity alone, but would actively defend them against other threats. In exchange, humanity shared their unique approach to problem-solving, their creativity that the logical Dominion couldn't replicate. A year after the Phoenix's impossible victory, Walker stood on her bridge once more. The ship had been rebuilt, upgraded with the best of human and Dominion technology. His crew, the 30 who had risked everything, stood with him. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, our mission is exploration once again. But this time, we go as representatives of a species that the galaxy knows not to underestimate. Rodriguez grinned from her station. Where to, Admiral? Walker looked at the star map, showing thousands of systems yet unexplored. Wherever we're needed. The galaxy just learned that humanity's here, and we don't back down. The Phoenix engaged its engines, heading into the unknown. Behind them, Earth stood protected and proud, a world that had faced annihilation and responded with the most human reaction possible. They'd found a way to win. The day humanity was challenged had ended with the galaxy learning a simple truth. Never bet against the human spirit. Never bet against the impossible. The end. Asterisk.